Capital is an alternative to conventional venture capital. In conventional venture capital, you invest for shares in a company, and then you spend some time with the company, and after 4 or 5 years, you sell those shares, and the difference between what you paid for the shares and what you get for the shares when you sell them is the money you make. And in some cases, that can be a lot of money. But the reality of it is that it's very rare when you invest in a small company and you're able to either sell those shares back to the entrepreneur for an amount of money that you're looking for, or sell the company itself to another investor. That's a fairly rare event. So what revenue capital is this. It is a shift from taking as an investor, from taking your profits from an increase in the value of the shares and shifting that profit over to an increase in the sales of the company. So what you do is you provide a loan to the company that has a very low interest rate and the right to a small, maybe 2% percentage of the sales of the company. You may put a little equity investment into the company, but your real profitability comes from sharing in the increased sales of the company. And it's good to remember that what entrepreneurs think of when they get up in the morning is how to increase their sales. So when you're investing in the sales of a company, then you're aligning yourself with the interests of the entrepreneur. You know, venture capital is highly successful in a very few countries. And even in the United States, 70% of the successful venture capital is in Silicon Valley. It's rare. Can we start over again?
Of course.
Okay.
Deuxième, please.
Okay. You know, venture capital can be very, very profitable, and it's famous for this. But it's only profitable in a relatively small number of countries, and even in the United States, it's only a highly profitable industry in very few cities. 70% of it in the United States is in Silicon Valley. And that's because in the United States and a few European countries, there is a large active market of buying and selling companies. In Tunisia, that's not the case. It's not the case in 90% of the countries on Earth. So in Tunisia, when we don't have an active market for buying and selling companies, what we need is another instrument, another kind of investment where you can invest and share risk with the entrepreneur, but not the risk of not being able to sell the company. You would share with revenue capital, the risk that you're sharing is the risk of whether or not the company is going to grow its sales. That's what revenue capital is about. It's simply shifting your participation in the success of a company or the failure of a company from the growth in its share value to the growth in its sales.